Hello everybody, it looks like we are live. I'm just seeing to things right now. Hopefully everything is up and running. Welcome to Montezuma. It is it's actually not at all like it's been of late in terms of weather. It is cloudy, which actually suits me just fine. I hope it doesn't rain on us. And it is about 70 degrees, breezy, very, on a relative basis, very comfortable. So hopefully we're live. Let me just check on something here. Running. Okay. We don't want to hear that. That's me. Okay. Just want to address a few things. Obviously, things will be different. There have been some changes over the last couple weeks. And the first thing I want to do is thank the former moderators for all the time and effort they've contributed to the tour. And I hope that you have also all appreciated their efforts over the years. But anyway, so today we are going to be without any moderators in the chat room. And I'm going to have to ask you all to be on your best behavior. I'm not saying you can't talk about anything other than birds. I'm not saying that at all, and I never have. But, there are certain subjects and certain types of discussions that we just can't have, including any about politics, any about religion, and any about any kind of topic of an adult nature. Those kinds of things we just can't have. I'll tell you a little story, and that story is related to a lecture that I heard years ago. I think it was in the late 80s. And back then, hold on one second here, I want to make sure we're up and running. Okay. Way back then, I had the privilege of listening to Mr. David Call, and at the time he was the dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at Cornell. And in guest lectures, very often, the guests will talk about his or her various experiences, things that are really specific to him or her, and that's fine, but you don't necessarily get any real takeaways other than outside of those specific things. But he said something that stuck with me, and what he said, and I don't know if it had ever been made so clear to me. And he was talking about either, whether you're talking about a business organization or anything that, comes up in regular life. He made note of the fact that you can delegate authority, but you can never delegate responsibility. And that really stuck with me. And I immediately understood what he was trying to say, and how, ultimately, if you're responsible for something, no matter what you do, you can't have someone else take care of it or whatever, and then you lose any responsibility for it. You're still responsible. And I'm responsible for the tour. And I often try to share the tour with anyone that might be interested. family, friends, you know, people at the lab know about it. People who are bird watching, you know, will share the tour. You've actually seen and or heard me do that. And so I have to, you know, I'm responsible for the conversations that take place ultimately. And I want to make sure the chat room is just a place where, you know, it's comfortable. It can be relaxed. It doesn't have to be all birds every moment all the time. But it has to be something that, you know, can't give me a problem. So that's why I'm asking all of you to take care of things today. We may have moderators in the future, but for now, I'm going to trust that you all, anyone who does chat, just follow the guidelines. Now, since I arrived, on to birds. Since I arrived, well, let me go back. A week ago, I was here, and you know, even though we didn't have a tour last week, I was here last week, and really one of the quieter, in terms of birds, one of the quieter visits I've had to Montezuma. And you know, for the time of year, maybe not all that surprising. Today, hold on one second. Today, so far, it has also been pretty quiet. I mean, just driving in, not hearing much. But, you know, it's understandable. Weeks ago, you know, many birds were still in their breeding seasons and, you know, much more active. Now, you know, we're in the second half of August, and, you know, it's time to get down to business. You're not breeding any longer. Most birds aren't. There are a few species that still will. And it's time to, you know, start to get ready to migrate. So things are definitely different. And so what I have seen today so far are really, it's a very minimal list. 3 or 4 ospreys, a couple American goldfinches, about 10 pigeons, at least 30 red-winged blackbirds. They've been flying around in groups, and 3 double-crested cormorants. I've seen some gulls also, but I couldn't identify them. And even if I were close, I probably wouldn't be able to identify them. My bird identification skills really aren't the greatest. I've said that right along. And but we'll try to muddle through. But even now, you're not hearing many birds singing or anything like that. It's just plain quiet here. I think the best thing I saw here in Montezuma last week was an osprey diving and catching a fish. I mean, that happens, but I happened to be in a good spot to see it, and I got out of the car and recorded it. I didn't do it perfectly, but recorded it as best I could, and I kind of liked it enough, the recording, that I felt it worthwhile to put on YouTube. See some gulls flying around. I hear someone chirping. I'm not sure who it is. It might be a yeah, it was a cardinal, a male cardinal. rained a little bit on my way here, the first part of my journey, but it's been, I would say it was essentially dry the rest of the way, but I mean, just, you know, a little bit in the beginning. I don't know if we're going to get any rain up here. I think there's a possibility. I do see a great blue heron. Looking with binoculars, I happen to see it. Good to see it. I don't know how much rain Montezuma has received of late. I have a feeling they received some. I know I checked on a couple occasions, you know, the forecast over the last couple days, and it looked like, you know, they had predictions for rain. And I think I'm glad if that's true. If it did rain here. Now there has been some flash flooding in certain areas. That not right near me necessarily, but close enough, and you know, that's obviously very unfortunate, and it has caused some damage. But some areas do actually need rain, and I was thinking, I see a gallinule. I was thinking that common gallinule. Some areas like East Road could use the rain, or the area we look at from East Road. Why is it I can't see this gallinule? There it is. I'll say this, last week when I was here on Wildlife Drive, I did not once try to record anything. I believe we're hearing either young coots or young gallinules. I'm going to close the other window. That breeze might be causing you some noise. You know, when I was here last week, I did things differently than I do when you know, I'm streaming for the tour. Just in terms of what I look at or what I try to identify, etc. But like I said, there was really very, very little to see. I think, can't speak for any of you, but I was spoiled by all the luck we had last year throughout the summer here at Montezuma. We had a number of lucky sightings over the months, and really it was great to come up here and see how summer actually progresses. Just heard a goldfinch, an American goldfinch. By the way, not today, but last week, actually the visitor center is closing today at 12:45 here because I guess they have, I can't remember what program they have, but they're closing to the general public. I'm not sure who this is yet. Looks like a cormorant, double-crested cormorant. Anyway, I spoke with one of the people at the visitor center last week, and just speaking more about Shockey Pool. It's an area we visit, and just to, you know, she said again that the reason why they drained it again this year is because when the results of the most recent draining, either last year or the year before, were not really what they were hoping to achieve. And their goal is to influence what plants grow there and don't grow there. And they were not happy with the plant growth after the prior draining of the pool, so they had to do it again this year. Now she did say, now, she wasn't certain of the schedule, but she did expect that, you know, it wouldn't be too long before they start allowing water back into the pool. But you know, I don't know what that's going to mean going forward for this season. She indicated that they will go in and cut down the vegetation that will have grown by then. That looks like, is that a black duck? I think it is. American black duck. And there's another duck over here. I'm not sure. That may also be one, or it's a mallard. I'm guessing it's a black duck, and it looks like they're getting closer. Although we see mallards with black ducks sometimes too. But anyway, she said that they looks like a gallon one, and another one, I think. Yeah, you know, it looks like they are. I wonder if they're young ones just getting coloration. I don't know. Because they don't have the bright orange, unless the camera's distorting something. They don't have the bright red or orange coloration on the beak that an adult does. So anyway, she said that they would be mowing. And now, you know, I don't know if that means that the Shaki pool, that's an osprey, by the way, will be great, you know, a good place to watch birds in the fall. I really don't know. I don't know how long it'll take to fill it back up with water. Obviously, it matters how much rain we get, and I don't know if they'll pump water into it. That I can't say. Who do I see here? Oh, it's a gallinule. See this one, that's a gallinule, and you can see it's got a different look to it, kind of like a juvenile, but it's got some of the adult coloration. Thought I might have seen a second one. I'm not sure. Oh, I do see somebody right over here. Probably the same sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, he's got that white on the side. Back over here, let me double check. Are those the same two ducks? Maybe, maybe not. No, probably not. These look more like mallards, I believe. Kind of upset the other day. Near me, because of all the rain my area has had, near me there was, you know, within my view I should say, you know, some water where it usually isn't. And okay, that's fine. Then I had to leave, and I didn't really, for various reasons, I hadn't had a chance to like really look out the window and look around and everything, including the area that had the excess water. Gallinule. Anyway, then a short while later, I'm leaving, driving away, in my car driving away, and I happen to look back, and who's there? There was a great egret there. And, you know, I don't normally see great egrets within my view, so, you know, missed out on that one. This looks like a younger one, but I'm not sure. No, actually, it looks more like an adult coot, but not. I just saw somebody fly by. I'm not sure who it was. Here's a gull. I'm not good with gulls. I can't identify those. The other thing I was lucky to see, which I don't see every day, and lately because of the way some vegetation has grown in, I don't see as much in terms of waterfowl from my own view at home. But with the excess water, I saw a couple wood ducks swimming around. That was nice to see. And I can't remember what else I saw. I think that night I saw one of my local, no, it was a juvenile red-tailed hawk that I saw that night from home. That's right. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, I did tell you about the weather. It's really it's mild today. It's like 70 degrees roughly, and you know, much more comfortable than it has been actually of late, when it's really been just plain hot. Maybe not a really hot day even, but if it was sunny, it would certainly get hot here in the car, but today is different. Now, it is a little breezy, which can cause, you know, some difficulties for us, but I think these are actually pretty good conditions overall. I would take these, you know, most weeks. The thing I'm really concerned with is that we may not see many birds, just because of the time of year. I believe we're hearing young, either coots or gallinals. I'm not sure. Oh, what do I see? Who is that? I don't know. Okay, well, let's look around a little bit with this camera, and then I think maybe if we find anything really interesting, we may switch. Those look like pied-billed grebes back there, and a couple more pied-billed grebes right there. And we're hearing grebes right now, well in the distance. Someone was lying there. Okay, let's keep moving. I've, you know, discussed this many times. Someone might wonder, well, if you had such bad luck last week and you don't believe you're going to see much this week, why bother going? And, you know, good question, but it's because there is always a chance that we'll see something, and it may prove, you know, that one thing that you see may make the whole trip worthwhile. I'm going to set you down for a second because I want to look at a couple things with binoculars, and it's just easier for me if I have two hands on the binoculars. One moment. Maybe 2 moments. A couple more pied-billed grebes. Great blue heron. An osprey in the distance. Okay, let's keep moving. I have to be, well, I'm always have to be mindful of the time, but you know, Canada goose, I think. Just flew in. Yes, Canada goose. But anyway, the days are noticeably shorter. There's no doubt, and it's, you know, it's dark before 9 o'clock at night now, and that does make a difference. You know, sometimes every minute counts. And when we come up here to Montezuma, I enjoy doing it. Don't get me wrong, but it takes time. Oops. Couple mallards. By the way, I did ask inside today at the visitor center if there was anything special. They had no current lists of anything, and I did quickly glance at some of the lists that are, you know, at least a couple days old, and it really, at just a glance, but they didn't seem to have anything standing out either. So again, I don't know what kind of a day we're going to have up here. While I was up here last week, I tried to find this other place that was mentioned to me, and I don't believe I ever made it there, but I found a different location, and looked like it might be worthwhile in terms of the type of habitat it was. I mean, it's, you know, water, but not deep water. So I mean, you know, the kind of thing that maybe would be good for shorebirds. And I saw primarily, I think more than anything, I saw a few. Well, I saw a few great blue herons there. Oh, belted kingfisher. But the rest was just basically all gallinals last week. Okay, there goes the kingfisher over. It's flying over, probably closer to the channel now that's over there. Hate to say it, but not 100% certain I could find that other location. Here's another Canada goose, the one that I went to last week. Oh, I just heard a Caspian Tern. Oh, I see them. Two of them. There are two Caspian Terns in the air. And there's another one. And is that another one? Or is that a gull? I don't know. Hear that? I don't want to try to... Those are Caspian Terns. Maybe not the most beautiful of calls, but they're beautiful birds. I don't know what's going on with this goose. It's still walking there. Looks like a duck of some sort. I would like to see what it is, but I don't think this camera is able to do it. So let's take a moment and see if we can figure it out with the other camera. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. Another pied-billed grebe or two. Okay, let me get the other camera going. Oops. There we go. Looks like a wood duck to me. Second here. Let me lighten it up a little bit. Yes, it looks like a young wood duck. Cute. Okay, but while we're here, is there anything else we really want to see? I don't believe so. It's very, like I said, it's very quiet. Just look at some of these areas before we move on. And, you know, I hate to say it, it may end up being very quiet here for a few weeks. The way things are going. It's a pied-billed grebe there. And another one, I think, yeah, there. Until we start seeing the signs of migration. It's a gull. Don't know what kind. But a gull. Grebe. Someone just splashed. Might have been a tern. Okay, let's switch cameras. One second, I'll be right with you. Well, yeah. Depending on weather, you know, we may start to see the signs of migration pretty soon. And you know what? Well, let me just say this. I expect to really note some migration signs, you know, soon. Not so much with species coming through, although it's possible I'll see something, but with the absence of some species. And, you know, one of the ones that comes to mind are, is the American robin. I've noticed a few years ago that come, mid-August or the third week in August, all of a sudden I'm not seeing any robins anywhere. And I'm sure some will winter in my area, and there, obviously there could be some stragglers, but at least the pattern has been over the last few years that the robins, all of a sudden, I don't see them in the grass any longer, or, just in driving around. And I suspect I'll start seeing that pretty soon. Oh, I just saw a... Not sure what kind they were. A couple swallows. And I see a great egret. The egret is not close. Where's the egret? Who took my egret? Give me my egret. He's way out there. Didn't really make note of where it was, but it was out there. There it is. Wait, is that an egret? Looks like one. As opposed to a swan. It's just in deep water. Relatively deep water. Cormorant nearby. Oh, where'd you go? Come back here. Just dove. Let's see its head pop up. I'm not going to say that they migrate from me, but I have noticed in my area a pattern. Here's a pied-billed grebe pretty close. Let's see if we can maybe get a closer look at it. I wonder if it's a young one. I'm going to switch cameras. 1 second. Well, it just tossed the fish for whatever reason, or whatever it's got in its mouth. You know what, I'm going to back up a little bit because we have some vegetation in the way. Okay. And again, now it's really much closer than I would like because of the vegetation. But that did look like a young one. Let's hope it gets a little bit farther out. Oh, it's getting, if anything, it's getting closer, not farther. So now, if it's nearby, I can't see it because of the vegetation. Maybe it'll swim back out a little farther. Let's wait a minute. Anyway, as I was saying, while we're waiting to see if maybe the pied-billed grebe gets moves out a little bit farther. Oh, who's this in the air? Is that an osprey? Yes, there's an osprey overhead. Yeah, I think. I don't know if they come through the area, or if they are in the area and they just don't happen to come, do any feeding within my view until about this time. One species I see only in the very late summer, and only if the conditions are right, and only if I happen to be looking and everything, are common nighthawks. which are not hawks, but anyway, I'm hoping to see those pretty soon. I did see one single common nighthawk last Sunday as it flew through my view, but it didn't even seem to be feeding. It was just like flying through. So I don't know, I'm not going to say it's a migration thing, but certainly things are, you know, are changing. I see a number of pied-billed grebes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. At least 11 pied-billed grebes. They're kind of spread out, but they seem to be a group of one sort or another. And we unfortunately have a lot of vegetation in our way. At least 11, maybe more. I'm not sure. I'll give you a look with this camera. See, even this kind of thing is kind of interesting because, you know, the vast majority of our pied-billed grebe sightings that we've had together have been of one or two at a time, and not necessarily right next to each other, but to see like a group like that, that's just kind of interesting. At the very least, it shows it's possible. Or, not that it's possible, of course it's possible, but that it does in fact happen. Few more grebes, or at least two more. We're going to keep moving just because we, like I said, the days are getting shorter, so we have to be mindful of that. I'll have to say one thing that was nice last week, even though I didn't see many birds, getting in and out of the car was a lot easier. Normally I have to worry about keeping the camera running and all that, and it's nice not to have to worry about that. I could just get out wherever I wanted. The grebes there in the distance, and who's flying around out there? Thought I saw somebody. Haven't seen an eagle yet. You know, did I see any eagles last week? Oh, I might have seen one. And not even here. It was elsewhere, as I recall. Not here at Wildlife Drive, but somewhere else up here. That was a cormorant there that landed. Overall, I'd have to say, though, that today is very much like last week. Very quiet. Activity at all. A few more grebes here, pied-billed grebes, like 4 of them at least. Have some species left the area? I'm sure that some have. And if they're not, they're thinking about it. There's an egret. I believe I see another one. something over there on the other side. Never mind. Now last year, as I said, you know, we came up here during the summer, throughout the summer, just because of the way things worked in Ithaca. That is another egret there. And who is out there? Are those coots? Maybe. I think we'll take a look just so we can find out. So it looked like a couple finches flying by. I'm not sure if maybe 3 actually. I'm not sure what they were though. So we have an egret out there. That's pretty easy to figure out, but those look like coots, American coots. But are those some ducks there? Guessing mallards, but I'm not really sure. I'm having a hard time seeing them well, but they look kind of like mallards. And hold on one second, is that some of this? No. Well, there may be some other things of interest out there. Grebes. Looks like that might be a cormorant, and to our left, more American coots. Much else, okay. And then over, I thought I saw some other things of potential interest. More coots. Are you a coot? Seem a little large to be a coot. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. I'm just, at least on my little screen, I'm having a hard time seeing it. Oh, that looks like a cormorant. Okay. Double-crested cormorant. Well in the distance, who's flying around? Let's see if we can maybe kind of see them. Although in the car, it's not the best way to do things. Okay, gulls, I think. And let me look with binoculars one more time and see if there's anything else I want to focus in on. Otherwise, we'll move on. I might see an eagle in the air. Possibly. It's going to be difficult to get it because I can't see it with the naked eye. Or oh, maybe I can. Oops, got too greedy. That looks like an eagle to me. Yes, indeed. baldy. Difficult for me to stay with it at this, especially at this distance and the way I'm set up here in the car. So we're gonna keep moving on. And I'm going. Let's leave this camera in place for a moment, okay? This is not a hard and fast rule, but I've found that for me, if I'm, oh, what do I see? Hold on. Two crows. I've found that for me, first of all, if I can't see it with my own eyes, if it's so far away that I can't see it with my own eyes, then, you know, no matter what I do with my scope and camera and everything, it's not going to be worth really special, you know, especially good in terms of photography. Now, maybe it would be some, if it were, you know, a rare bird or something like that, and you know, of really special interest, then yeah, maybe, sure, maybe it would be worth posting or something. I believe this is yet another egret. But, you know, it's not going to be, like if I'm seeing an eagle in the distance, if it's not close enough to see with the naked eye, I'm not going to be recording anything all that great. I guess I'm discussing the limits really of the photography, or of, you know, with my equipment, or, and also, you know, sometimes, as you know, the air at such distances, no matter what time of year, can really cause a problem. So, like for instance, that eagle, I could see it with the naked eye, but it was not great. Gallivo, I think, on my little screen here. Maybe we'll switch cameras very shortly because, unsurprisingly, I'm not seeing all that much. Oh, who's this?